Isn't this like a video or something? No. That's good. They're looking at each other, looking at the statue. That's good. Is Al Bunbury in there? No.
No.
Oh, Hieronymus is in there. Leon Day. Oh, this Chad. That's good. Except they're not positioned right. Is that his wife?
I don't think.
This is the cake. Oh, that's good. That now you didn't see Mr. Johnson. What was his name? John Harris. That was the what is that? It's a mess. That's no good. That's his grandmother. Oh, goodness. Now, can I do that video?
I don't know.
Any voice? No.
I can't hear anything.
Hello, everybody. This is Mayor Bill Martin from the City of Havre here with a special friend of mine, Miss Camay Murphy. We're here today to talk to you about a very exciting art project that's coming to Tidings Memorial Park. It's not just any art project. It's going to be a sculpture dedicated to a very famous son of the City of Havre, a very famous baseball player. And I'm going to ask Miss Murphy here today, who's an expert on the subject, to tell us who the sculpture is dedicated to and a little background as to why.
Well, the sculpture is dedicated to Ernest Burke, and he was born here in Havre race on June 26th, the very day that we're having the celebration. He was part of the A-League Giants, Baltimore A-League Giants team in the 40s. And he was an outstanding player, although he wasn't in the Hall of Fame, that kind of thing. But he was an excellent player. He was a man of great athletic skills, and he was a humanitarian. He went to many of the schools to talk to children about the Negro League. And that's what we're going to be celebrating on the 26th. Not only Ernest Burke, but also the Negro Leagues.
Ms. Murphy, we can't wait for June 26th at 1 o'clock to be at Tidings Park. Can you tell us a little bit about the man who is the sculptor of this statue?
Yes. This is really an art piece. It's not just a statue. This young man, Austin Brantley of Detroit, has really captured the inner feeling of an early Negro leaguer, a young man who had just come out of the Marines and was recommended to play ball in the Negro League. And so he went to Baltimore and he tried out, and he was accepted. And he was competing with players from major cities, but little Havre Grace, a game came through, and Ernest Burke was selected to play with the Baltimore Eli Giants in the 40s. We're celebrating this on June 26th because he was a true son of Havre Grace. And we consider him really a hero because he fought in World War II as a Marine and is recognized by the Marine Corps. And he also was a man of great character. And we feel as though recognition of people of this caliber should be done throughout the country.
Thank you so much, Ms. Murphy. Ernest Burke, a son of Havre Grace, a Marine Corps veteran, and a Negro Baseball League legend. And this is all happening June 26th at 1 o'clock. And before we leave, Ms. Murphy, I've known you for quite some time now. Can you tell everybody about how long you've been working on this project?
Well, in my remarks, I'm going to say that when I started on this project, my hair was brown, dark brown, with little streaks of gray. Now it's gray with little streaks of dark brown. So you can see how long it has been. But it was worth it. Every minute was worth it. And when you come to Havre Grace and see this piece of art done by Austin Brantley, you will see, no matter how long it took, it was worth it.
Well, we can't wait, Ms. Murphy. And again, I personally thank you for your diligence and never giving up on this idea. And for generations to come, all you have to do is take your families to Tidings Park, and you can learn a lot about a little bit of Havre Grace history and the people that have come from our town. So, June 26th, 1 o'clock, Tidings Park. Please bring your family and see an amazing dedication to an amazing man. Ms. Murphy, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for being here and helping us educate the citizens of all the great stuff happening in our town.
Thank you.
This is Mayor Bill Martin, and I'll see you at Tidings Park. Thank you.
It was good. I thought, didn't you think that was good? That was really good.
So, tell me the story of how you got to unveil the statue, of how you did this statue.
The story of how we did the statue. Well, it's kind of a long story. So I'll try to get it down to a few sentences.
No, take your time.
Yeah, well, I have other things to do, but we had we knew Ernest Burke. I knew Ernest Burke in person, and he lived in Baltimore, and then he lived in Perry Hall. And when my husband and myself first came to Havre de Grace, just as it's sort of a thing with Black people, that they kind of sort of seek out where are the Black folks up here in Havre de Grace, and we didn't see very many, but we did hear the name of Ernest Burke actually through Sam Lacey of the Afro. We said that we were I was thinking of purchasing something up in Havre de Grace, some kind of a little summer house or something. And in our conversation with Sam Lacey, he mentioned Ernest Burke, and that Ernest Burke had been with the Negro League and had played baseball, and that he was a very fine gentleman, and that if we wanted sort of information, a little orientation to Havre de Grace, that we should get in touch with him. And we did, and we developed a sort of a little friendship, and then when he started telling us about the Negro League and how important that experience had been for him in the 40s, we saw a kind of a story there. We saw an opportunity to learn more about the Negro League and to learn more about Ernest Burke.
And what was the
Um,
first thing, so you found out about Ernest Burke, you purchased a house up here.
right. And then as the time went on, his story became more dramatic because when he was very young, his mother was killed. His father had sort of disappeared prior to that, and his mother had sort of made a relationship with a man from Baltimore, and she actually was murdered, and Ernest was kind of left out because his grandmother could only take in a few children into her home because she was getting public assistance. So she was very limited in what she could do. And so Ernest had to sort of knock around between relatives who were up here in Havre de Grace and sell wood chips for people to start fires in their home. And he sort of hustled around for a while, and then finally this Canadian couple, the father of this family, we think was here for the Conowingo Dam, the building of the Conowingo Dam. This was in the 30s, and so they saw Ernest and what a fine young man he was, and how he was trying to sort of struggle to really stay alive, and they took him. They never adopted him or anything. They just said, come with us back to Canada, back to Iberville, and we'll have a nice home for you. You can go to school there, and et cetera, et cetera. So he went with them and spent most of his preteen life and teen life in Iberville, Canada. And so his first athletic, I guess, abilities came out when he was a great skier, and he played on. We're trying to get further information about whether or not he played on the ice hockey teams that were then very popular in Canada, and but he was always a great athlete, and of course his work while he was a teenager and a preteen was in the woods, because the father of the family was a lumberjack, and so he taught Ernest all about cutting trees down and that kind of thing.
But we want to focus on your story,
and that developed Ernest's upper body strength.
Mm-hmm. So you purchased a house in Havre, Grace. You talked to Sam Lacey. He told you about Ernest Burke. You purchased a house in Havre, Grace. You knew Ernest Burke.
Right.
And what happened then? How did the statue come about?
Okay. Well, after we had this celebration of Ernest Burke in Havre, Grace, and that was really primarily in Aberdeen,
Mm-hmm.
and
was he still alive when you had the celebration? Was he still alive?
Yes.
Do you remember what year that was?
That was 89.
89. Okay.
Yeah, and he enjoyed that. That was great. We got some publicity for this area, and then somehow or other this guy Ray Banks came on the scene, and he had a lot of pictures and memorabilia and whatnot of Ernest, and sort of in our conversation and whatnot, I said, there should be something permanent up here about Ernest Burke. He added to the Havre Grace story, and so we were thinking, oh well, maybe we could do a center, would name one of the community centers or something for Ernest Burke, for kids gymnastics and stuff like that, and so I said I think we should really work on having some kind of permanent statue for him. So we formed a little committee. I talked to the mayor, who at that time, I think it was Doherty, and I had talked before about Ernest Burke to Bill. What was the mayor before Doherty?
Bill Barker.
Bill Barker. I talked to Bill Barker about Ernest Burke and doing something for him. And in fact, Bill Barker had referred me to Captain, I forget what his last name is, in Aberdeen, who he said had all of the information about athletics and what went on in that area around Aberdeen and Havre Grace. So anyway, I met some people that really were giving me a lot of information about blacks, and around that time in the 40s, Erica Quisenberry had done a lot of articles in the Cecil Whig about the about the teams and whatnot. And so we just we became more and more involved. And then we sort of were aiming for a statue to be at the library. And we were really excited about that. And so we worked for quite a while with the library people, public library, and they were interested in having it. But the new library in Havre, they just didn't feel as though there was enough space outside around the library to really. They had the parking, and then they had the delivery section, and the front of the library was very wasn't a lot of space. So we went to the then mayor, Bill Martin, and talked to him, and he said, well, why don't we put it in Tidings Park? And by that time, we had a sort of an altogether different committee. And then at one point, when I had a fall about a year and a half into the project, I had a very bad fall.
What year was that?
Let me see. It was. What is 20? About 2019, 2018, 2019, yeah. And
so the project really got full steam around 2017, 2016.
Yeah, okay. Right. And then because I was a little, handicapped, they suggested, and we were sort of at the point where we had to send out the request for proposals, and we were sort of looking at where we were going to go with this, and so I don't know who it was. I think it was Steve Gamatoria or someone who suggested that the committee get in touch with Jim McFarland, who is head of art and design at Hartford Community College. And so we did, and Jim volunteered to be part of the committee and got us all kind of on track as far as doing a sculpture of Ernest Burke, and so then we started some really serious fundraising and writing of grants, and we were able to get the money that was necessary for the thing.
Okay.
Then I saw a program that was called art, something about art. That was Rhea Fiken was the host, and they brought on various artists that were emerging or young artists who deserved some attention. And in this group of artists, they showed this young man who was a sculptor, and his work was really, really beautiful, and his name was Austin Brantley. And because it was Maryland Public Television, I thought he was from Maryland. And when I called the station and talked about him, they said no, he was broadcasting from Detroit. And so I said, immediately flashed across we won't get a Maryland State Arts Council grant because they want Maryland artists. So, but anyway, we continued on, and we we got enough in grants and individual donations and some large donations from Exelon, and so we were able to do the statue, the work.
Did you get funding from the Maryland State Arts Council?
No.
Okay. Did you get any state support? Or was it just council and
It was
local?
It was local. It was city and it was county.
Okay.
That we got support.
And so to go over the timeline again, so about 1989, you recognize you're friends with Ernest Burke. You decide to have an event to honor him. That goes really well. Then when does he pass? Do you remember? Is that 93?
Something like that.
Okay, so he passes.
94. Something.
You don't collect, any of his personal stuff and all. You leave that right to his family. But you continue this thing. And then about 2017 or so, it starts to get momentum, or before then?
I think about 2017, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah.
And you start by doing what to build community awareness?
Well, I think the community in general was aware that we were. I went to every council meeting.
Mm-hmm.
The mayor did a proclamation about Ernest Burke and the what he had done for Havre Grace, and so I think that and the city council was 100% behind this, and they the city council, even individual members of the city council made donations, which is almost unheard of city councils. They don't donate. But anyway, they made donations. There was a kind of a buzz. I mean, we didn't do any great, newspaper campaign or anything. There were quite some articles came out in the Aegis about what we were trying to do, and I think there was general community awareness.
I also remember attending luncheons.
Well, we started a fundraiser activity that was called Let's Talk Baseball,
Mm-hmm.
and Alexis Link, a Havre Gracian, who lives in Bully Rock, she took on that project, and we worked with the Bayou Restaurant with Lou, and we had Mike Preston from the Baltimore Sun came up. We had Sam Lacey's son as a speaker, and we had some of the Negro Leaguers there, and in general, we we rose. We had some awareness of about Ernest Burke and about Havre Grace's baseball history and whatnot. Then there was a group called 42.
Mm-hmm.
And they put out an important pamphlet about Ernest Burke.
So when you did the luncheon, were they like $100 a ticket? Was it a buffet? How did you sell the luncheon? Did you have a committee for that?
Yeah, we had a small committee, and we tried to sell tickets. We also sold tickets at the door because some people just found out about it. We're not heavy on because of my age and whatnot. I was not heavy on like Facebook and stuff like that. So I was dependent on other members to get the word out through the chat rooms and things like that. And we yeah, we had a pretty good attendance because our tickets were $40, I think, $30, something like that. And you got a wonderful meal, and then you met, a celebrity. So, so anyway, we hope that for our supportive role that we'll be playing now in maintaining the statue and the environs around, our committee will probably be responsible for that, and supporting the Little League team here, and maybe developing some type of Ernest Burke scholarship at Harvard.
And how many luncheons did you have? Do you remember?
I think we had three luncheons.
And who generally attended those? If you had like 10 tables. I know one table was the church.
Yeah. The St. John's Church was very, very supportive. And we had about maybe 10, we made a couple of $1,000, about $2,000, $3,000 from that. Didn't make a lot of money from it, but we developed a lot of good relationships with people. And a lot of people came just for the camaraderie, and because they were baseball. Baseball is very popular in this area. And so if it's something that they can support baseball, people generally come out.
And did you use the minor league baseball team? Did you lose the baseball team here in Aberdeen at all?
Yes, they had a Negro League Day, and we participated in that, and we participated in the 4th of July parade a couple of times, and so we made an attempt to get Ernest Burke's name at least out there, and to let people know what we were doing.
So you were fortunate to enjoy the support of the mayor, but what if the mayor was ambivalent about it, or was unapproachable, like in a major city? Your strategy depended on local government and stuff, but what if that door was closed? What avenue would you have taken then, do you think?
Well, I think that the most effective thing was going to the city council meetings and being seen by the mayor and the city council people, and not being too aggressive about it, but letting them know why you were there and what your aim is. It's a tricky kind of business, but if you don't have the support of the city, maybe not, the city council or the mayor, or if you don't have that support, forget it. It's not going to work, because the city is essential, and the first thing that grants people who are giving their money, big money, individually want to know is that this is something that is supported by the city. And if you can show that, they'll generally open up their pockets. But but it's difficult, it's not an easy trial.
Now, did you form your own 501c3?
No. We were under the umbrella organization of community projects of Havre, and that has been another saving thing. Not only because many of the major projects in Havre are under community projects of Havre, and so you get that cachet with them, yeah. And because Volney Ford, who is the who's head of community projects, is the kind of person that if you come to him with a problem, he will help you out. And but he expects you to work. He you know, you just don't go in and he's going to do the whole thing. But he was very helpful to us in going up to New York and looking at various sculptors and working with us on our decision, which he went along with it, but he realized, I think more than I did, about what it was going to mean to work with a sculptor from Detroit, and you're in Havre, Grace, and a coronavirus, COVID-19 is going to flare up. So he knew that I was chewing, you know, biting off maybe more than I could chew, and he helped us to lure, well, I'll say, Jim Farland into the fold.
Now, all right. So, wrapping up, when you, if you were to form this committee again, give me a second here. I'm doing adjustments. Or give me a second. All right, if you're forming the committee now, or somebody who wants to do a statue in some other city, like anyway, you're forming the committee. You need a professor or somebody who has done a sculpture before or knows sculpting. You need a person from the city.
You need the support of the city. You need somebody who's handling the money.
Mm-hmm.
You need and that's the beauty of the community projects. You have your own bank account, and you draw down from that. But in general, all of the money goes to them. The checks are made out to them. You have no problem. You know, you don't have to worry about keeping so careful books. What happened? Blah blah. They have the they do that.
You need a local historian.
Well, it helps to have a local historian on your board, but if you don't have a local historian, you can certainly you can ask somebody, you know, to come in for a while or talk to the group, or when you're getting it formed and you want to know something about the place, time, and era and whatnot, you know, you can bring in someone temporarily.
Go on.
But you need somebody like we have Ray Banks, who knows he's called the ambassador of the Negro League, so he knew he had all of the information about the Negro League. So if you're doing something about baseball, you certainly want somebody on your board that knows baseball. I mean, some people say they're doing a baseball statue, but they only have lawyers and teachers and artists maybe on their board. So it's important to have somebody that knows the
subject matter.
That's yeah. Right. That knows the area.
Go on. Teachers, lawyers are good on the board.
Yeah, well, generally, if you are, most boards have somebody who knows the law, so that you're not going off half-cocked and somebody sue you or something, right? So the best thing to do is to have somebody that knows the law on your board, and then, you know, have a worker bee. there's generally you find somebody that they just want to do. And we have Lee Parsons, and she's from the church, but she's one of these these people that get in there and get it done, and work hard. And then we have Alexis Link, who is, as I mentioned, she is a very deep thinker, and she did all of our fundraising. Let's talk baseball things, and very much of a stickler, a good writer, and that kind of thing. So, and then we had when the statue was being done, we were fortunate enough to have Tamara Stickler from she works for Community Projects, and she came over and helped us because her father is such a baseball fan, and she is a baseball fan, and she was also a sculptor. And so she helped us in that area. So we were really very fortunate that these things sort of dropped right into our lap, and it all ended up with this fine piece of sculpture that we now have in Chinese Park.
And this, of course, was not your only project like this. You also kind of saved the U.B. Blake Center in Baltimore. Any other tips for people who were considering a project like this or would like to honor someone, how they can get it done? Any other secrets that you have? Because they mentioned some in this.
What?
She puts the squeeze on.
Well, no, not that sort of happened later on. You have to be. There are certain things you have to think through. One of the things that I know my father always said, that the rehearsal is as important as the performance. And he would rehearse his men, his band, and himself, to the point where when he got on stage, it all looked like it was just happening for the first time. It was fresh, it was new, but it had been well rehearsed. So planning and meeting and listening and looking and feeling are very, very important. And you can't say, oh no, I don't want to another meeting. Oh, for God, forget it. I'm not doing. If you have that feeling about meeting and planning, then this is not for you. But it means a lot of meetings, a lot of planning, a lot of talking to people, sometimes just in a very casual way, and so they'll get to know you. The reason why Barry Glassman said that he responded to me because every time he was around, I made myself known to him. Hi, I'm Camay Murphy from Havre, and we do appreciate the fact that you did blah, 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 blah. And I told him one time, they don't do it anymore, but I told him one time that our church prayed for him every Sunday. And he really became intrigued with that. So that you have to be thinking it through. Mm-hmm. You really do.
All right, good. All right. I know you're uncomfortable.